on Junior MasterChef.
You ready to do some cooking?
Yes!
Well, let's do it.
A brand new masterclass series brings you an inspiring cooking experience.
Do you love it?
Yes.
In a masterclass first, our next generation of cooks will be in the kitchen alongside our greatest chefs.
So that means you'll cook along with us.
So you ready to go?
Yes!
And in the biggest cooking event ever seen in Australia, the entire nation will have the chance to cook along with George.
You'll be making a dish live with us at home.
But to kick off Masterclass tonight, Gary gives an Austrian classic a modern Aussie twist.
You'll be really popular if you make this schnitzel and tomato salad.
Guest chef Mark Jensen, a master of Vietnamese cooking, shows us his famous fresh style.
Simple, but how healthy and nutritious is that as well?
And MasterChef favourite Poh Ling delights us with a springtime dessert.
The most important thing,
Taste!
come on kids, welcome to Masterclass. Wow, look at this place. Are you excited? Yeah. Wow, take a look around. Welcome to our first ever Junior Masterclass. Now, you guys were part of our top 50, so we're so pleased that you could come in and join our first Masterclass because you cooked up an absolute storm. You gave us some amazing dishes. And even though you didn't make it through any further, I think you must agree it was a very, very special experience. And also very special to be here in the MasterChef kitchen. So today, this space is all yours. You may notice that George and Anna aren't here today. So instead, we've got two very special guests to come in and show you some of their cooking secrets. It's going to be a big day, lots of tips and tricks, some cooking techniques. So I think we should get started. What do you reckon?
Yes!
Okay, our first special guest is someone who's an expert in Vietnamese food. He is the head chef of a fantastic restaurant here in Sydney called Red Lantern. And that chef is Mark Jensen. Wow. Our second guest, you're going to know this person, and I think you're going to be very excited when you find out who it is. I'm excited because I haven't seen her for quite some time. Our second guest today is Poh Ling Yeow from Series 1 of MasterChef. How you going? All right. Brilliant to see you. Mark, how are you?
Great.
Hello, guys.
Hi!
Such a great pleasure to be here.
How exciting is this? So, Poh, it's been a year,
Yeah.
maybe a little bit longer, since you've been in this hallowed space. And, of course, you've been doing your own television program
Yes.
on ABC TV,
Yep.
which is Poh's Kitchen.
Yeah.
How exciting is that?
Oh, it's incredible. I mean, I feel like the luckiest girl in the world, really.
You are the luckiest girl.
Yeah.
Well, it's great to have you on the show.
Great to be back.
And, Mark,
Gary.
I don't want to,
No.
Poh's stealing the thunder
Oh,
a bit,
I
but
can see why. It's like,
thank you for coming on board. What is it that you love about food? What's the thing that gets you going?
really gets me going. Well, I just think that produce really, like, you know, you walk to a market. So this is a really good tip, like go to the markets. There's lots of farmers markets. Go and see the stuff laid out there. You walk through and you just get inspired by all this stuff.
Yeah.
You just think, wow, I'd love to cook this vegetable that way, or, you know, it just keeps turning, you know?
Gee, let's not waste any time. I think we should start cooking, don't you?
Yes!
So the first dish we're going to cook is a chicken schnitzel with grilled eggplant, heirloom tomato salad and fresh mozzarella. A really simple dish, but a nice one to learn how to do. And you guys, you've got your cooking stations behind you, so you're all going to cook along while I demonstrate. And Poh and Mark are going to be there for a bit of support and help you. So you ready to go?
Yes.
Ready to get cooking?
Yes.
Give me that yes, chef.
Yes, chef!
Come on then, get cooking, back to your stations. Go on, guys, off you go. Right, first step, chicken breast. Have you got one?
Yeah!
Right, I'm going to show you how we cut those little pieces, because then what we're going to do is just going to bat them out very lightly, because with a chicken schnitzel, you want to make sure that it's nice and even, and it's quite thin so that it cooks quickly, all right? So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to cut it so we get 3 nice equal-sized pieces from the chicken. So I'm just going to cut that across on a little angle, all right? And what I get is a nice little, what we call a scallop, or little collop of chicken, all right? And that's what you've got on your plate, because we're going to then tap that out slightly so it's a little bit thinner and more equal in thickness across the whole breadth of that chicken, all right? So cut another one, all right? So you could actually just pane or crumb that easily, but what I like about a schnitzel is that you get that maximum amount of crunch, so the maximum amount of crumbing. So we want a slightly wider surface area. So what I want you to do is put your chicken at the top of the board, right? And then I want you to grab some cling film, which is under your bench. And then I want you to stretch the cling film across the board, okay? And then just tear that off so your board is effectively covered in cling film, all right? You got it? And then what I want you to do is pop those 3 pieces of chicken onto the cling film. And then I want you to stretch another piece of cling film over the top and just put your hand on top of each piece of chicken just to stick it down. So you've got basically a chicken sandwich in between cling film. Now what that cling film allows you to do is to then gently bat out or hammer that chicken so that you can make it thinner. Now, watch the next bit, and this is very important. So I start on the right, and I go left, and then right and go left. Off you go. Bat away.
Mash all the bits are a bit thicker. That's good.
Guys, have you finished?
Yes.
Love it. So, peel your top layer of cling film off, and what you should be left with is those lovely schnitzels, and you can just pop those to the side at the top of your board so they're ready to go. And they should, if you feel them with your fingers, they should be all nice and even, okay? If you've got thick bits in there, then that's going to take a little bit longer to cook. So the next step is we're going to make the breadcrumbs to cover or coat the schnitzel. So you've all got a blender, right? So open your blenders. You've got 200 grams of sort of stale bread. And we're just going to pop that into our blender, all right? Now, you're going to do this together because a crumbing station is a messy job. So I'm going to get you to share this job. So tear the bread in, work together like a team, all right? So as you got your bread in, you've got some Parmesan, pop it into the blender as well. And there's about 50 grams there, okay? And then what we're going to do is going to give that a bit of a blend, and then we're going to put some fresh herbs in. We're off.
That's it.
Right, listen up, guys.
Yes.
What I want you to do next is we've got some herbs here, and I want you to take the parsley from this little bunch. And you've also got some thyme and some rosemary. And I just want you to pick about half of this parsley into the breadcrumbs, and then the thyme and the rosemary. Because what that'll do is it'll give you a lovely herby flavour, and actually be slightly green as well by the time it's blended together, so that'll be beautiful. A little pinch of salt, okay? And a little twist of pepper, all right? And then on with the top and blend again.
Just use the poles.
Okay.
Now, you guys all done with your blended crumbs?
Nearly.
Right. So breadcrumbs into a bowl, all right? That's going to be the last thing on our line. And then you want 2 other bowls and a plate. Into the first bowl, flour. Along with the flour, a little pinch of salt and a little twist of pepper, because we're going to season at each stage.
Not too much pepper.
Into the next bowl, you're going to crack 1 egg. And you're going to add a little dash of milk, probably about 2 tablespoons full. And then just mix that together so it's not like a little omelette, like it's a little egg mixture. Just use a fork to do that. Okay, now you know how to set up a crumbing station. You have to listen very carefully. One person has wet hands and the other person has dry hands. That's why you're going to work in 2. Otherwise, you're going to get really messy. Okay, chicken into the flour, right? Dust it either side. Give it a little pat, and then pass it to your good friend, Mr. or Mrs. Wet Hands, right? And they put their chicken into the egg, right? Now, Mr. or Mrs. Dry Hands come round to the breadcrumbs, And the person who's doing the egg dips it in the egg, right? Lifts it up, lets the egg drain off and just wipes off any excess, and then passes it to the person who's got the dry hands. Now, because you don't have that egg over your hands, unlike me, you'll be able to just pat that all over with the breadcrumbs and make sure that you've got a nice little crusty coating of breadcrumbs on the top of the schnitzel. How's our schnitzels, Mark? Are they looking all right?
They're coming along very nicely.
We reckon we could get them working in our kitchens.
I've already signed them up. I've signed a couple already.
Now, I think you guys have got this next bit already prepared, but I'm just going to show you, with the schnitzel that I'm doing a little heirloom tomato salad, which is a salad made with lots of unusual types of tomatoes. Now, in that salad, I'm going to put some grilled eggplant. So all I'm going to do is just slice these Lebanese eggplants, and just a couple of mils thick, and I'm just going to pop them onto a plate, drizzle them with some olive oil, sprinkle of salt, and a little bit of pepper, and they're ready to grill. So what I've basically got is the crumbed schnitzel, which you guys should have, all nice and rustic, all bobbly and bubbly, so they'll go crunchy, and flavoured with all those beautiful herbs. And then we've got our eggplant that's ready to grill. So we've made our chicken, we've crumbed it, we've battered it out, and then we've also sliced our eggplants and put a little bit of olive oil on. So now we're going to cook. So first up, we're going to put the eggplant onto the griddle plate. The eggplant are going to take a few minutes longer to cook than the schnitzel. So what we want to do is give that a head start. Now, they'll take about 4 minutes aside. And what we're looking for is a nice golden brown with that very distinct bar mark, which gives it that little charriness that we like. If your eggplant's starting to colour, then I think what we can do is do 2 jobs at once, and that's put the chicken into the pan. So what we're going to do is take a little bit of olive oil, about 2 tablespoons, and pour it into your frying pan. You can be quite generous, because the key here is to make sure that the breadcrumbs on the chicken are going to be really crunchy, okay? So when you're dealing with a hot pan, just make sure you don't throw anything in, that you just lay it in gently, because if you throw something in, it splashes, okay? And you should have a very gentle sizzle. So if you listen to the pan rather than look at it, you'll just hear this gentle shushing. Now you've got 2 jobs to do. You've got to fry your chicken. They take about 3 minutes aside, and you've got to keep an eye on your eggplant.
Ah, that's really good. How are you going, Josh?
Good.
Looking nice, sizzling along, smelling good.
Poh, how are these guys doing? This is the first dish of the day.
I'm really, really impressed.
Really impressed?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm so proud of you guys. I can see all these lovely schnitzels, golden brown on both sides and crunchy. Now, for those of you that have flipped your chicken over and it's looking beautiful and it's golden on each side, you've actually got some butter, all right? And what I want you to do is take about a tablespoonful of that butter and turn your pan down and drop the butter in and around the chicken so it gets all bubbly and brown, okay? So my eggplant's coming out now, so it's lovely and golden brown. It's got a nice bar mark on it. And I'm just popping that onto a tray with a little piece of greaseproof, just to hold it so we can plate up. Right, so my schnitzels are ready. I'm just popping them on the side and ready to go for a plate up. Okay, so schnitzels are cooked, eggplant is cooked, it smells gorgeous. Just want to stick it between a slice of bread and get stuck in. But before we do that, bowl, okay, and your tomatoes, because what we're going to do is make a nice little tomato salad. Now, these are heirloom tomatoes, and that's a fancy way of saying they're unusual varieties. Now, what I want you to do is just take off any of the little stalks, all right? So that little stalk in there. And I'm not fussed about taking the core out or anything, because what we're going to do is just chop those roughly and pop them in the bowl. We need just enough for your schnitzel, okay? Cut them in half, and then just cut them into odd shapes. It doesn't matter. I do, you know, little 45-degree angles or something similar, just so that they're not uniform, because I don't want squares from things that are such beautiful shapes. So try and keep the shape of the tomato. Just do what you feel like. There's no wrong or right way of doing this. And just pop them in your bowl. Next, pinch of salt, or a little twist of salt. Little twist of pepper. Because remember, we're making a very simple tomato salad, but it's important that we season to bring out the best flavours. And then a drizzle of extra virgin olive oil. And be quite generous, okay? Because that blends all the flavours together, all right? Next up, mozzarella. This is buffalo mozzarella, okay? So made with buffalo milk, and it's a fresh milk cheese, okay? Have a little smell, because what you should smell is just fresh milk. Can you smell that? And what you want to do is you just tease this apart, because this is a sort of a rolled, a folded sort of moulded cheese, fresh milk cheese. So you want to tear this apart, and then just tear some little pieces, you know, like this, into the salad. Okay, next in, we've got some basil, and I just want you to tear some of the leaves on top of that beautiful tomato and mozzarella. The idea about tearing it is that you sort of bruise it slightly and release all that beautiful aroma. So you can put the little tiny leaves in and the bigger leaves and just tear them with your fingers, all right? Last thing, bit of parsley, just the little leaves, not the stalks, just so it's nice and herby. And remember, we put those herbs in the breadcrumbs, so it sort of reinforces those lovely fresh flavours. All right? And then, you know the eggplant that you grilled? Just throw a few of those eggplants in that tomato salad, and then that's our salad done. So all you've got to do is pop your schnitzel on the plate and then decorate it with your salad. So just be nice and natural. Don't try and arrange it too much, and just make it look nice and fresh, okay?
Actually, just, you know, that looks beautiful.
Is everybody happy with their dish?
Yes.
Brilliant. And that's my chicken schnitzel with grilled eggplant, fresh heirloom tomato salad, and of course, buffalo mozzarella. Poh and Mark, come over here, let's taste. And you guys, get your knives and forks and tuck in and see what your first dish in the MasterChef kitchen tastes like.
That looks fantastic, Gary.
How is it, guys? Is it good? Just good? It's your cooking.
Great.
It's amazing.
I love these tomatoes. Jeffrey, how's that schnitzel?
It's the best.
Did you do a good job cooking it?
Yeah, I think I did.
So tell me, are you going to cook this again?
Definitely.
Good stuff. Charlie, do you think you might have learned something today?
Yeah.
What do you reckon? What did you learn?
I've never made a schnitzel before, so I learned how to make a schnitzel, and I never heard of heirloom tomatoes either. So.
Gee, good. Can I tell you, you'll be really popular in your house if you make this schnitzel and tomato salad. I reckon.
I think she will be.
Good stuff. So my top tips for making a schnitzel, number one, is make sure you bat out those little pieces of chicken really evenly, otherwise it won't cook properly. Number two, fresh breadcrumbs make all the difference. And top tip number three, it doesn't have to be a classic schnitzel with that sort of bubbly sauce and grilled cheese on the top. Use fresh mozzarella or the heirloom tomato, something interesting, fresh and summery. That's what makes it special for me. What's great about a schnitzel recipe like this is simple, number one, using fresh flavours, and all those ideas and those techniques transfer into other recipes, which is great. You've got to bank it. So I hope you've learned something. Now get ready for the next recipe. Next up on Masterclass, we're going to make a dish that is a staple of Vietnamese cuisine. This is an absolute necessity if you cook or love Vietnamese food. And it's called a pho, which is a traditional Vietnamese soup. So, Mark, you're going to teach us your version of a Vietnamese pho. Now, first up, we're going to make a chicken stock for the pho, which is the soup.
Yes.
OK, brilliant. So we've got chicken wings. Why chicken wings?
Chicken wings, because I love that dark meat. I love that lovely, intense flavour. So let's put the chicken wings into the pot.
And how many chicken wings have you got there? What sort of weight is that?
I've got 1 kilo of chicken wings.
Brilliant.
To the chicken wings, I'm going to add 2.5 litres of water.
OK, and that's just cold water?
Cold water start.
And why is it important to put cold water in rather than hot water?
It's important because we want that water to warm up. I like to bring it up quite rapidly, but as it warms, it just draws lots of that flavour out. Rather than, if it's too hot and it's boiling, it just seals the flavour into the chicken and there's less flavour into your stock.
That's quite important.
Next, we need 1 small onion cut in half, and we just put that straight into the pot.
OK.
1 stick of celery, roughly chopped. 2 garlic cloves, which we can just crush into our pot.
All right, and then we've got some herbs here. Looks like some thyme, some parsley.
That's right.
And some peppercorns and bay leaf.
And a bay leaf. So let's add the thyme, parsley to the pot. 1 bay leaf. Then we need 3 peppercorns.
So you only put a few peppercorns in there. Why is that? Are they very strong?
It's just enough to just build, you know, because we'll be adding more flavour to this later, OK? We'll be adding stronger flavours to it. So we just start off with some really good base flavours. That'll add a little bit of piquancy, like a little bit of sharpness, but then we'll finish it later with some chilli to really bring out that really fiery, lovely heat to it.
So we bring that up to the boil?
Bring it up to the boil.
And then we give that a skim, take away any of the impurities. How long do we cook that for?
We'll cook that for 45 minutes.
OK, brilliant.
Does anyone have any questions? Emily?
When you're cooking the stock, is it just on a high heat? Or...
No, that's a good question, because what we need to do is on a high heat initially, so on really high heat. Once it starts to boil, then you turn the heat down. So for 45 minutes, it'll be on a slow simmer.
What's up, Josh?
Instead of just the plain onions, could you use like shallots or...?
That's a good question.
It is a good question, and you could. You could, but, I mean, I don't think it's really necessary, do you?
I think 2 shallots are... shallots are expensive, you know, so certainly in my kitchen, I bet it's the same in yours. You know, things like shallots, which are more expensive, don't put them in stocks. A lot of chefs load up their stocks with lots of vegetables, and essentially that's just money going into the pot. And is it going to improve the flavour? Up to a point, but too much spoils a good thing. So chicken stock's on, it's going to come up to the boil, it's going to take about 45 minutes for all those flavours to come out into that beautiful stock. And then we're going to strain it, and then we're ready to make our pho. Now that's been simmering for 45 minutes now, so the next job, Mark, is to...
Well, we have to skim that one, Gary.
OK.
See this on top? This is what we've been skimming off during the 45 minutes, because it's not something you do. You don't just put it on for 45 minutes and walk away and watch your favourite TV show. You have to constantly pay it attention and just skim off all these little pieces here.
OK. Now, these are all the impurities, and a lot of that is things like blood and, you know, bits and pieces like that.
Yeah.
And then what you see underneath there is that lovely, clear stock just bubbling underneath. That's beautiful, isn't it?
Doesn't it look fantastic?
Looks gorgeous.
And what we're going to do is strain that through a cloth here, and that'll just make the stock really, really clear.
OK.
And then we can strain the soup through the
OK. And a cloth's a good idea, because then that filters out all those tiny little impurities that would make that stock cloudy.
Yeah, no, that's right, that's right. And I find sometimes, like, it's really important to have the stock simmering for that 45 minutes on the right temperature, because if it's too high, the vegetables are going to start to break up. Yeah. And they're really going to cloud the stock. At work, we do master stock chicken. Do you know what master stock is?
No, tell us about it.
A master stock is, it's like the grandma of stock. It sits there, it's the same stock. I've had it for many years. Every morning, I put it on the stove and I bring it up to boil and I clear all the impurities off. And throughout the day, I'll cook whole chickens in that stock.
Wow.
Every day, there's more and more flavour, so I'm constantly adjusting it. I'm adding a little bit of salt, I'm adding fresh seasonings and flavourings to it, a little bit more soy. So it's a work in progress.
Wow.
So you just keep it going. It's amazing.
So it's a different stock. Say to 2 years ago, it's now a much better, much more complex
That's exactly right. That's exactly
it's a living
right.
beast, isn't it?
So we've strained the stock here.
We've got to flavour that, right?
We have to add more of the Asian sort of elements to the stock.
Okay.
So I have 1 stick of cinnamon, which I'll add to the pot. Next, star anise. Do you know this flavour? You familiar with this flavour?
Never, ever had it.
Really
it's good
beautiful
stuff.
aniseed flavour. Add that to the stock. We need a 4 centimetre piece of ginger. All I'm going to do is cut that in half and then add that to the pot.
And then what's next?
We just need 1 chilli. So let's add the chilli to the soup.
OK, so you've got those little aromats in there. What's next?
Coriander.
Yep.
For making soup, it's really nice to add the roots.
OK.
To the
That's
soup.
where all the flavour is.
There's a lot of flavour down there, but I always like to just scrape them because they're a little bit dirty.
Yep.
And you just scrape the bottom off.
You're just scraping that root on the bottom, take any of those little fibrous hairs off, any of the...
That's exactly right. Scrape them. So then I just back of a knife, just carefully press down, and so it just breaks that up.
Wow.
Breaks
That's
it up.
interesting. Can I smell?
Yeah.
Wow. And
Nice.
really intense.
Really intense.
Really intense. Lots of coriander.
Next, we're going to add some fish sauce. And fish sauce is nice and salty, but it also has a lovely body to it.
So you're putting the fish sauce in for the salt, but also some background flavour in there as well.
Background flavour, that's right. For this quantity of soup, I'm using 2 tablespoons of fish sauce.
OK. And next in?
Next is some tamari.
Which is
Soy sauce, that's right. So I'm going to add 3 tablespoons of soy sauce. and this just gives it another note. Finally, I'm just going to add the juice of half a lime.
Gorgeous. So you've got some salty notes in there, some sort of lightly fishy notes from the fish sauce, and then the acid, that lovely zesty acidity from the lime. Brilliant.
And the acid brings it all together.
Okay, so that's the basis of the soup. The flavours are in there, and now what we're going to do next?
Okay, we're going to prepare the other ingredients for our soup, like the garnishes, because this is a chicken and vegetable pho.
Okay, brilliant. So we've got carrot sticks,
That's right.
and then you've got some capsicum,
Capsicums here.
some snow peas,
Exactly right.
and some mushrooms,
Beautiful shiitake mushrooms, fresh shiitake mushrooms, some enoki mushrooms.
and then also some spring onion.
Yeah, that's right.
Which we've shredded
Yeah,
as well.
that's it.
And then also some little
Bean sprouts. I feel healthy already just
Good.
looking at
I
all
do.
these things. Can you pass the bowl there?
Yep.
Gary, we need a bowl for this. So first off, I'm going to put the rice noodles into the bowl. You can pre-blanch those in some boiling water, but in this case, what I'm going to do is they'll be fine because we'll ladle the stock over and that'll heat the noodles through. So add some carrots to that, some red capsicums there, some snow peas. So about 15 grams of every little thing here. Some bean sprouts. Doesn't that look great? See how it just stacks up and looks really lovely? These shiitake mushrooms, let's just sprinkle those around the side because they
Lovely.
look so nice. Enoki mushrooms on top.
Beautiful.
So then, look at that lovely colour, Gary. Look.
Beautiful. So you're just ladling that hot, fragrant stock over the noodles and all those beautiful vegetables.
All those vegetables.
So
look at
delicate.
that. Look at how that comes together.
Absolutely lovely. And very simple ingredients.
Simple, but how healthy and nutritious is that as well? And then some spring onions on top. And taste. You can always have a little taste.
Tastes delicious.
Tastes really fantastic, but you know what? Just a little squeeze of lime just to really bring out that
Just
flavour.
zest it up.
And to finish the soup, I add some Vietnamese mint, a little bit of coriander, and finish it off with some finely sliced chili. Here it is, my chicken and vegetable pho.
Right, our top tips for making a great chicken stock and, of course, a great Vietnamese pho. We suggest using chicken wings because they've got lots of flavour. They're really meaty, lots of meat and knuckles on the bone. You get lots of flavour from that. Number 2, bring the chicken stock from cold up to the boil, skim all the impurities from the top, and then reduce to a simmer, and then cook it for 45 minutes, and you get a beautiful flavour.
My tips would be always taste the soup through different stages. And when it comes to seasoning, don't over-season. Remember to add a small amount and then increase it.
Right, there's only one thing left to do, and that's taste this beautiful pho. So volunteers? Oh, I'm not sure. Georgia, Joshua, and Emily. Up you come. Right, grab a spoon, grab a fork, and I want you to tuck in and just tell us what you can taste and what you like. And what you don't, if you feel that way. I want to know who's going to try those slippery noodles down in the bottom.
Emily's searching for them.
Yeah.
She's in there, she'll be the first.
Nice, see, you got it on your cheeks and everything. It's great. Georgia, you tell us what you taste.
Well, I was kind of surprised because I saw the chili and went, but there isn't actually a lot of chili and the lime is really yummy in it, actually. So.
And Joshua, what do you think?
I really like the ginger. It was like a background taste to it. And I really like the crunchiness of all the vegetables like the bean sprouts and the spring onions. And
lovely.
I reckon the noodles gave it a nice softness.
Beautiful, nice and healthy.
Yeah.
And what about you, Emily? What do you reckon?
Well, I was quite surprised with the fish sauce and the soy sauce, how salty it made it without actually having to add salt.
That's a good point, isn't it? That's a
And-
really good point.
So yeah, it kind of made it that salty wow.
Yeah.
Salty wow, I like
Yeah, I
it.
love that too. You're going to give it a go?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brilliant stuff. Okay, thanks, guys. Take a seat. So it just goes to show how easy it is to make a delicious Vietnamese pho. Thanks to Mark Jensen. He's brought us his lovely recipe. And now you guys know how to make it too. Thank you, Mark. Great job.
Thank you, thank you.
Right, now, time for our next cook-along. And this dish is a beauty. Very simple. And I'm going to throw to Poh to tell us what it is. What are we cooking?
Today we're going to be making a vanilla yoghurt panna cotta with a raspberry jelly and a pistachio tuile.
Ooh, sounds beautiful. Who's made a panna cotta before? Ah, see, we've got 2 in the crowd that have done it. Now, panna cotta.
Yes.
It's a cooked cream,
Yes.
isn't it? So nice and easy to make. Now, you've got a jelly in here, so what are we going to make first, panna cotta or jelly?
We're going to make the jelly.
Okay.
So to make a jelly, we obviously need gelatin. So we've got gold gelatin leaves here.
And gold gelatin is one of the strongest,
Yep.
which is really good. And you get powdered gelatin as well, so
Yes.
that gets soaked in cold water. So, guys, you're going to grab your gelatin and stick it into your cold water so it's nice and soft.
Just make sure they're all submerged and let that soak.
What you want is the gelatin to go nice and soft and pliable so that it actually melts into the jelly. That's the whole idea.
Yep. Now we're going to make the raspberry infusion.
Yep.
So we've got fresh raspberries. That's 150 grams. And then next, 100 mils of water.
Pour it on top.
Yep. Next is 30 grams of caster sugar. Got it, guys? Easy? Okay, what we want to do is actually pop this over the double boiler, and what we're doing is actually making a raspberry infusion. So we want to infuse that water with the raspberries, and then later we're going to add the gelatin. So your water shouldn't be boiling feverishly, it should just be simmering on a medium heat.
Brilliant. So what that does is it just allows the raspberries to infuse with the sugar and take all that flavour from the raspberries into the jelly.
Yeah.
Wow, that's easy.
Now you want the mixture to be sitting on here for about 3 to 4 minutes, and the sugar would have dissolved, and the liquid will start to go a bit pink.
Okay, fantastic. So what's next? The jelly's on the go, and then we're going to pop those into little moulds?
Dairy moulds.
Okay, beautiful. And these are handy little things. So what we're going to do is then pop the jelly and the raspberries in the bottom.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So everybody got their dairy-alls? Yeah?
So guys, you want to agitate it a little bit, but very, very gently, because we don't want to destroy any of the whole raspberries, because we want to use them for the bottom of the mould.
And you can see the colour starting to come out already, and the sugar's dissolving, so I bet that tastes beautiful.
Smells gorgeous, doesn't it? Okay, guys, is your infusion looking really nice and pink?
Yep.
Yeah, and you can smell the raspberries. That's good. Now, we're going to add the gelatin into that mixture. So, when you pick a gelatin up, it should be this sort of really wobbly...
Nice and squidgy and
squidgy.
soft.
Whoops.
That's good.
And you want to squeeze as much water as you can out of it.
And you want to do that because otherwise you end up with more liquid in your jelly.
Yep, and it's going to dilute the beautiful raspberry mixture that you've got there.
So everybody squeezing their gelatin?
Yeah.
That's it? Great.
And what you want to do is stir it really gently again and make sure that all that gelatin is beautifully dissolved.
That's dissolved instantly. That's gorgeous. So everybody, you can turn your stoves off now because you've made the jelly.
Now, with your gloves on, take your bowl off. And what we want to do is spoon 4 raspberries into each of the dairy moulds. Now, the idea is we want to see the whole fruit when we turn it out, so be really nice and gentle. And then what you want to do is spoon 2 teaspoons of the liquid over the raspberries.
So 2 teaspoons of liquid. That's it. Brilliant. Obviously, as that cools down, that'll set really quickly in the fridge, about 20 minutes. So that's what we're going to do now. We're going to put these into...
Well, because we're glamorous here in the MasterChef kitchen, we've got a blast chiller, so we're going to do that for 5 minutes in blast chiller.
Okay.
But if you're doing it at home, you'd probably just leave it in the fridge for like, I don't know...
20 minutes, I reckon, I'll set it.
Next, we're going to do the panna cotta, and that's the easiest thing to make. First step, again, the gelatin. So soak that in water. That's 3 gelatin leaves.
And often panna cottas don't have gelatin in, do they? Because panna cotta just means cooked cream.
Yes.
But if you want it to be like a little bit wobbly, like ours is going to be,
Yes.
then you need a couple of leaves of gelatin.
And then we're going to heat the cream. Has everyone got their pot on the stove? Turn it to about a 7, which is a medium heat. And then pour 375 mils of cream in.
Beautiful.
Next is your 45 grams of icing sugar.
And that's just to sweeten.
Yep. And also just balance the top and the bottom. So,
Yeah.
you know, the top's a bit sweet, you can probably afford to not have as much sugar on the bottom.
Beautiful. How long will that take to warm up?
What do you think? 3 to 4 minutes?
Yeah, 3 to 4 minutes I think will be good. And that'll allow the sugar to dissolve and that natural sweetness to come through. Guys, you're going okay? None of your cream's boiling? It's looking all right? So as soon as you've got to that point, you can just move your pot off the heat, and then I think we're going to add the gelatin, is that right?
Again, same process. Grab your gelatin and give it a nice thorough squeeze. Get rid of all the liquid.
So basically you've put the gelatin into the cream and you're just stirring it, and it's nice and warm, you can see, and that just dissolves any of the lumps of the gelatin. That's great. Easy. And that's all it is, in essence, isn't it?
Yeah.
A cooked cream.
That's done.
Beautiful. So what's next?
Just transfer your pot onto the bench.
Yep.
I've got 180 grams of full-fat yogurt here.
Everybody got a whisk? Just whisk it in.
And again, we really just want to incorporate the yogurt. You don't want to whisk it to incorporate too much air because when it sets, you're going to get all little bubbles. And you want it to be really smooth, so you don't want bubbles.
OK. So yogurt's in. What's next?
And then just a teaspoon of vanilla bean paste. We can use a vanilla pod if you want, of course. So this is the stage where you can infuse flavours into the panna cotta. I've done a lime one before.
Oh, yeah. I love things like rosewater or elderflower because that's lovely.
Yeah,
or lavender.
Really subtle. Lavender. I just made a lavender ice cream recently.
Gorgeous.
Yeah. So it's done. Now you want this mixture to cool down because you don't want to pour it into the daro moulds with the jelly which set because you'll actually melt that again. So you want this to cool thoroughly before you pour it in.
So you want those two separate layers, otherwise it'll all just blend together.
Yes.
OK. Who's dipped their finger in? Yay! Go on, dip your finger in, have a taste. That's what it's all about.
Gary, this is really nice and cool now. So we're ready to pour into the daro moulds.
Yeah, OK. So I'll grab them out of the chiller.
Yeah.
That's perfect. Look at that.
They look...
They've set.
Perfect.
And when you touch your jellies, you can feel they're just set on the top. It's
Don't
lovely.
punch your finger through it, just touch it, OK?
So then we're going to pour the cool panna cotta mixture on top of the jelly, is that right?
Yes.
Oh, look at that.
About there?
So you get about 3/4 of the way up to the top, and then you get that lovely division between jelly and that creamy panna cotta. Look at that. I want the creamy mixture.
Yeah.
So can you see that, guys? Look at that. See, you got that lovely two-tone panna cotta and raspberry jelly. So easy, isn't it? But it looks so beautiful. So these now go into the fridge or the blast chiller just to set that gelatin in the panna cotta. How long do you think that'll take?
I think in a regular fridge, give it 3 to 4 hours for a good set. But with the blast chiller, 5 minutes in there and then maybe 2 hours.
Brilliant. So we're here with Poh Ling Yeow, and we're making this beautiful yogurt and vanilla panna cotta with a raspberry jelly. And then, of course, there's a bit missing, which is the pistachio tuile. So how are we going to make that?
This is really, really simple. The first thing we put in is 65 grams of icing sugar, 65 grams of plain flour, and then we just sift it.
And that just gets all the lumps out.
So tuile biscuit is a really, really simple dessert biscuit that you can pair with lots of things, really, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's a great little recipe to learn because everybody thinks it's really hard, but in fact it's not, is it?
No, it's what you do with it. So you can bend it into interesting
shapes.
Yeah. So that's beautiful.
All right, and then next it goes into a food blender, right?
Or you can just use a hand mixer if you've got that at home.
Brilliant.
And then we just plonk softened butter.
65 grams of butter?
Yep. And 2 egg whites.
OK. Brilliant.
And then... How simple is that?
Love it.
You could do that blindfolded.
That is amazing. So basically, give it a good old mix until it's incorporated. The butter's nice and soft. You get this pasty. Show them the pastiness. So you get that lovely stuff. You know what's really delicious about this? It tastes great raw.
You're going to do that.
Tastes good. OK, so what's next?
We're going to get a piece of acetate. So that's just a piece of plastic with a circle cut out of it, and we're going to use that as a stencil. Going to pop that on baking paper.
Yep. Now, you've all got one of these, so lay your paper out onto your trays, and you've all got a little bit of the tuile or the biscuit mixture, and we'll make a couple.
Now, we don't want to just plonk a tuile right in the middle. We want to try and make 2, so sort of push it to 1/2 of the tray. Got that? OK, now just get a little scoop of the mixture, and what you want to do is smear it over that circle, but quite thinly. I would say about a mil.
A mil thick.
A mil thick.
There you go. Look at that. That's perfect, isn't it? Nice mixture.
Yeah.
How about you, Mark? Have you got some good circles up there?
I've got some great circles.
Yeah, they're doing a good job.
Fantastic. So once you've done the first one, do another one on the other side.
Number 2, beautiful.
Now, the next step is to sprinkle your chopped pistachios on top. And that's going to add a beautiful bit of colour and also some crunch and some beautiful flavour that will go really well with the yoghurt.
They're so delicate, these biscuits. I love them.
Yeah, you can do so many things with them.
Brilliant. So, Poh, how long did these go into the oven for?
For 160 for 5 minutes.
OK, beautiful. And how do you know that they're cooked?
You just want a little bit of a frill of brown around the outside. If it's brown all the way through, it's overcooked and you're going to have trouble shaping it.
Brilliant.
So, got your gloves on, guys?
Anybody got any questions? Georgia?
Can you flavour the twill with anything else besides pistachios?
Yeah, absolutely. Can you think of anything?
Yeah, my brain immediately goes to chocolate. So cocoa in the twill mix. You can just
Great
add a bit
idea.
of cocoa. Yep.
Yeah, you can do coconut twirls or hazelnut twirls. You know, pistachio are great. I love pistachio. Should we have a quick check of these little twirls and
Yeah,
see
definitely.
if they're starting to go brown? Because they look like they're just changing colour. Ooh, they're nearly done, aren't they?
I think they
In
are
fact,
done.
they are done. Look at
you
that.
go.
That's perfect. So what are we doing?
We need to lift it.
Are they hot?
No, they're not actually. We're going to put one that way with the nuts facing up, and the other one we're going to fold the other way, so with the nuts facing down.
Cool. So are yours starting to go golden brown now?
Yep, you're ready. Put it out.
Oh, look at that. That one's perfect. That one needs a little bit longer.
This one's okay. So you got one curved one and one flat one. That's fine. But this
So how quick and easy was that?
Very good.
And we've got a whole other element to the dessert. Gary, don't
So
they look beautiful?
panna cottas are ready.
Yeah.
The twirls, the biscuits are ready, and these look absolutely special. They're so
gorgeous,
delicate
aren't
and
they?
lovely. So how are we going to plate this up then?
We've got a little pan of simmering water here.
Guys, just be very careful because you're dealing with hot water. It's not boiling, but it'll still burn, OK? So you just got to drop that in very gently and count to a slow 3 and then lift it out. And then remember, we've got to release the vacuum or the air. I'm going to go and help kids.
Okay. Now, what we need to do is when you take it out of the pot, get your knife, be really, really careful, and just slide it down the side of the Dariol mould. And what you want to do is release the side so that a little air pocket begins to appear, and that will creep all the way to the bottom of the mould.
Start here on the top. Just run it around there.
Oh,
You see how it opens up the air pocket there?
yeah.
That's what you want to do, OK?
Then what you've got to do, you just got to release it underneath there.
Stuck, is it? It doesn't want to come out.
And then you want to just keep squeezing the mould and easing that panna cotta out. And you'll find that it will begin to release itself. There you go.
Oh, there we go.
And I love the jelly.
You
can
lost
try
your
another
jelly.
one.
Let's try the other one.
Tip that and see what happens.
Okay, so on one side of your plate, you should have one beautiful, turned out, glossy panna cotta. And then on the other side, we're going to use our twill. And you can just arrange those attractively on the plate. And then just arrange your few raspberries around the place.
Gorgeous. And I love the raspberries. They look so beautiful. And you get that nice contrast between the fresh raspberries and the little steeped and jellied ones.
Done.
Love it.
So guys, you should be really proud of yourself for making this gorgeous vanilla yogurt panna cotta with raspberry jelly and pistachio twill. Well done.
Well done, guys. Good job. Give yourself a round of applause. Oh, yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
That was sick, Gary.
Fully sick, mate. Fully sick.
So my top tips for a good panna cotta is don't boil the cream because it will split it. My second tip is not too much gelatin because you're going to end up with a bouncy panna cotta, which is very unpleasant. And my third tip is make sure the top layer is cooled before you pour it over the set bottom layer. So guys, you saw how easy this spectacular dessert was to make. So go home and experiment with it and impress your family.
And the most important thing,
Taste.
eat.
The taste.
Eat.
The taste.
Grab a spoon.
I'm here for the taste.
This looks good. I love it. There's nothing better than you get that creamy sort of creaminess and then you get that acidity and that freshness from the raspberries.
Yeah.
I
And
love
also
the yogurt.
Beautiful.
What about these little biscuits? Lovely. Is that beautiful?
Yum, guys?
Yep.
Are you going to make it at home?
Yes.
Yeah, going to give it a go. Nice and easy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow, very professional dessert. Emily, how does that taste?
Great.
do
The
you think?
creaminess of the panna cotta with the crunchiness of the twill, really good together.
And what about that fresh raspberry jelly? Do you reckon that's the best jelly you've ever had?
Yeah.
It's good stuff. And Tallulah, did you love that?
I really liked the yogurt and the raspberries and jelly together because they really work.
It's lovely, isn't it? It's nice and cleansing because that yogurt, because it's got that acidity there, which is beautiful.
Yeah.
Good stuff. You know what I reckon, guys? You've learned 3 fantastic dishes today. You did the schnitzel, you did the pho, and then finishing off you've got this lovely panna cotta from Poh. And they're 3 beautiful dishes that you can take home, you can practice, you can show your family and your friends, and really impress them with your cooking skills. And I hope you had a fantastic day in the MasterChef kitchen. This is a very special place for us. And of course, you got to watch Poh cook and Mark cook, and of course, me. So I hope you had a brilliant time, and thanks for coming.
Well done.
Next time on Junior Masterclass.
Right, guys, it's time to get cooking.
George shows us how to cook a succulent fillet of beef.
This is smelling good.
Anna unveils a tasty smoked trout lasagna.
Who wants to taste some?
While Gary goes French with his outrageously delicious dessert.
Sugar and chocolate. Ready? In.
Oh my God, it's so good.
And coming up for the top 12, the competition will be cranking.
Today's challenge is called Choose a Box.
There's a brand new challenge that's full of surprises.
What the heck is in that box?
And the kids must cook a Donahue recipe that's simply to die for.
So the dish you'll be making today,
Who will make it through to the next round?
that is just amazing.